It's a great pleasure to be here. Let me start by giving you an outline. I would first like to touch upon the recent developments in the cost of specifically renewable energy. Then I would like to look at our car, our beloved car, and what it could do more than just driving us around. And then lastly, I'll have a focus on the UAE. We've seen in the last, specifically in the last couple of years, a dramatic drop in the cost of renewable energy. And if I look back, for example, in my lifetime, when I was 15, the cost of a solar cell was 100% higher than it is right now. So it now only costs 1% of what it cost when I was 15. And if you translate that into real cost of production of electricity in various countries, then we've seen, specifically in the last year, these type of prices. So consistently, we've seen it coming down, and we've seen prices in Peru for less than 5 cents per kilowatt hours in the beginning of last year. But we've also seen the prices of wind coming down. And in Morocco, we had 3 cents per kilowatt hours again in the beginning of last year. But if you then continue a few months later, March 2016, we've already seen price of 3.6 for solar in Mexico, and of course Dubai. You know, the world record for solar, with a price that came in at less than 3 cents per kilowatt hour. So this is now, by a large margin, the lowest cost of electricity in the Emirate of Dubai, and this is a global phenomenon. Now, I have some bad news, because last week a new result came in from Mexico. Our friends in Mexico are doing pretty well, and they actually beat the Dubai price. So some of these things are happening, and they're changing a lot. They're changing the way we think about energy. They're changing how we can shape the energy mix. If you put that into perspective and you relate it to the development of energy prices of oil, of coal, of gas, and even LNG, and then you put that in a time scale that you can relate to, then you can actually see that this is a massive plunge in prices, and it changes things on a very, very short time scale. Now, this has led to a number of things. Already since a couple of years, we've seen that on a global level, the annual addition of new renewables, most specifically wind and solar, but also biomass and some marine technologies, etc., have outperformed the addition of all conventional power plants combined. So coal, gas, nuclear, oil, already since several years. And this trend is not changing. It's actually picking up speed. So we're seeing a massive transformation in the energy sector going on. Now let's focus on our car. I mean, we all love our cars. But if we're really honestly looking at the car as a technology, then it hasn't really changed much in the last 100 years. I mean, it still has 4 wheels, 2 or 4 doors. You can sit in with roughly 4 people. It has an engine in the front, etc., etc. Of course, it's a little bit more efficient, but if you're looking at some of the other technological advances, then a doubling of efficiency in 100 years is not really that stellar. And if we're then looking at what we do with that car, we take, if you take the primary energy content of oil, which is underground, then we have to pump it up, we have to refine it, we have to transport it, then we basically burn it in an internal combustion engine. If you take the entire chain, then basically we're wasting most of that. Because if you're looking also at the engine itself, it produces more heat than it produces traction. So our car, for 100 years, has been a moving stove with the emphasis on stove, because it's making more heat than anything else. And we're basically wasting all that energy. Now, to add insult to injury, it's not just very efficient, but it's also, we don't use our car very much. I mean, everybody at this point in time, I assume everybody has a car, but we're not using it. So you're using it on average 1 hour per day. So 23 hours per day, your car is sitting there idle doing nothing. Now in economic terms, you would call that a stranded investment. So part of what I would like to speak about today is to look at that in a more holistic way and see how we can use that asset maybe a little bit more efficiently. Now these are things that are coming. You've probably seen the roadshow last week where electric cars were driving through the United Arab Emirates, and I believe Elon Musk is in the country, or he will come soon to open up a shop in, I'm assuming in Dubai, to sell his Teslas. I mean, these are great new developments. They're a little bit more efficient. You still need electricity that needs to be produced, but they're clean. They don't produce exhaust gases, etc. However, they have still a limited range, and it takes long to charge. Hybrid electric vehicles, they've been around for a while. They have, they've basically overcome the disadvantage of pure electric vehicles in the sense that you can always drive your distance, etc., and you can fill them up. Some of them are plug-in hybrids, but you probably all know them. Now let's look at a third type of clean vehicle, and that's a fuel cell vehicle. Again, fuel cell vehicles have been around for a while. And the way they work is that you have a fuel cell inside the car, which is a power plant, and it runs on hydrogen. So it basically turns hydrogen into electricity that goes to the electric motors, and as a byproduct you produce water, clean water.